Beautiful Weirdo, Charlotte here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm still a little bit croaky after my recent illness, so please excuse my voice. Hope you're all okay. Hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and New Year. Today I am filming day 11 of my 12 Twisted Days of Christmas. A little bit later than I planned to film it, but illness, what can you do? And I'm filming 11 Piper's Piping. I decided to do a kind of a creepy twist on it by using the Legend of the Pied Piper, but give it a creepy death twist, because there are some schools of thought that the Pied Piper was actually death leading the children away. So I decided to do a kind of a skull death candy skull. I'm going to make a start, and yeah.
Righty-ho beauts, so we will start off by marking out the areas of the sugar skull. So I'm only doing a half sugar skull for this look. Oh, this bloody lighting, please excuse it throughout the video. It misbehaved a lot. Anyway, so I'm only doing half a sugar skull because I wanted the lower half of the face to be normal, or normal-ish, as normal as I ever am. And so yeah, just marking out the areas where I'll be doing the shading, and then going in with the good old white water-based face paint and a synthetic sponge, and just kind of dabbing that on in blotting motions. Incidentally, if you make any mistakes while you're drawing your skull on, just use a baby wipe to clean it up. And then going in with a small firm brush and just refining the edges, making it nice and neat, because there's only so neat you can go with a sponge. Incidentally, after talking to a sound guy on a film I was working on recently, I'm trying out a new recording technique. So I'm currently sat on my bed with a blanket over my head and my laptop right up to my microphone. So hopefully the sound quality will be a little bit better, because I look and feel like a plonker. Anyway, back to the tutorial. So taking Margot by Laura Mercier, obviously, I'm just marking out the areas where I want to shade and just adding the lightest portion of the shading. Now, for the shading to look realistic on something like this, what you want to do is build it up in layers and get darker and darker. So this is the lighter areas of shading. So just around the nose, around the cheekbones, to carve those out, around the temples and the forehead, and then some little frowny lines, because yes, I'm an angry skull person who lures people to their deaths with a recorder. It's meant to be a flute or something, but yeah, it's a recorder in this case. So yeah, make sure you blend that well with a fluffy brush. And then taking some foundation for the lower half of my face, the non-skull part, and just putting that on there with a brush. Don't forget your nose, and don't forget around your eyes, because they will be normal-ish too. Just powdering that, set it in place, and then going in with a lip brush around the edges of the mask, and with that same Margot by Laura Mercier, you just want to create a shadow to make it look as if the mask is kind of sitting off your face. Make sure the shadow is not too uniform, because a real shadow would not be. Do the same around the nose area, and the same around the eyes. Just imagine if you were wearing a real mask, the shadows that it would leave, or cast rather. Again, just putting that shadow on with the lip brush, and then blending with a fluffy brush. And then I just went in the socket line with that same colour. I want the eyes to look very pretty for this look, and the lips. So it's kind of a sort of pretty, seductive, candy skull, death piper type thing. And obviously it needed a Christmas twist, so just taking some red water-based face paint, I'm just doing some lines on the brows to make them look a bit like a candy cane. Now I have previously blocked my brows out, incidentally. And then just doing some little kind of petal shapes around the bottom of the eyes, and some little little shapes on the forehead too. You can decorate your skull however you want. I just googled candy skulls and just kind of took a bunch of inspiration from ones I found on the internet and took little bits from each of them, and yeah, but you can do whatever you want, whatever your heart desires. And then I cleaned off that brush using the same brush, that little lip brush. I then use this to put the teeth in. Now it's a good idea to use a lip brush because it's kind of tooth shaped, so all you have to do is dip it in your white paint and kind of pat it on, and you've got your tooth shape without having to draw them in. So bargain, 2 for 1 with that brush. And then just going in and deepening those shadows with a slightly darker grey. Again, make sure you blend well with that fluffy brush. Then, using the same greys as previously, I just defined in between each of the teeth, and then started defining that brow area as well to kind of make the brow look raised like the curved part of a candy cane would be. So I added a shadow either side of those stripes, and blend, blend, blend. Deepening up those cheekbones even more, because these cheekbones are just the best cheekbones ever. And then taking some black face paint and a very fine artist brush and just basically painting some swirly things on there. And I wanted the mask to kind of be spilling down over onto the face, because although it's painted to look like a mask, I wanted a kind of a fantasy, unreal kind of element to it. So the mask is kind of, you know, growing into the face and taking over this creepy death character. So yeah, just add in some more details. Again, you can do whatever you want here. You can make this candy skull your own. That's the great thing about candy skulls, they can be very individual. You can use different colours to ones I'm using. You can, yeah, do whatever you want. You can add some glitter, you can add some diamante, you can, I don't know, just do what you want basically, is what I'm saying. And then I just outlined all the teeth just to give them a little bit of extra pop. Did a few more little detaily bits on the chin because it was looking a little bit plain, I thought. And then some mascara and some liquid liner on my eyes. And then I just wanted to deepen up all these creases, so I went in with an even deeper grey and deepened up the inner corners and around those sockets, and actually in the socket line of my eye. So it's almost like a smoky eye, which was kind of bleeding out into the shadows of the mask. Deepening up those epic cheekbones again. And then also adding some shading around the mouth to create a slight smile at the edges, because I've got a miserable looking mouth in reality. So yeah, I like to give a little bit of a smiley look, because you would be smiling if you were leading people to their deaths, obviously. And yeah, just deepening up the rest of the shadows and making sure I blend that out really, really well. You can see how using the different shades of grey and blending makes those shadows look really realistic. And then just taking some red lip liner and lining the lips. I wanted the lips to look red and dramatic and seductive, and yeah, quick skull selfie. And then just filling in the lips with a bright red liquid lipstick. Smudging it out a little bit to look a bit like blood, and doing some blood streaks going down from the inside of that mask too. And then taking my NYX Cherry Sky, which is my great red blood lip colour, and just creating an ombre effect in the centre of the lips and at the edges, and using that to deepen up those blood streaks too. And this is where I should have put my finger in my mouth and done the pulling out finger trick to stop it getting on my teeth, because as you will see later, it is on my teeth. Just applying a bit of shading at the sides of the face because I felt they were looking a bit too blank. and around the tops of the mask too. Making sure those shadows are nicely blended out. Blending under the jawline too. And just blending where those wavy bits are coming down onto the face too, to show that they're casting a little bit of a shadow. And then just taking some brown tones and sort of dabbing this onto areas of the mask to make it look a bit sort of grungy and dirty and Victorian, and yeah. And then taking NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk and using that to highlight certain areas like the tops of the cheekbones and the bridge of the nose and my brow bones and the centre of the lips. And then using Roach by Urban Decay to just deepen those shadows around the mouth, and then using a white liquid liner by NYX just to create little highlights in between those candy cane bits and a little bit more highlight on the cheekbones. And then finally going in with a black grease paint to add the deepest, darkest areas of shadow. You could also use a black gel liner for this, or a really deep black eyeshadow. This just adds an extra bit of pop to the look. You don't want to deepen up every area of shadow, just some areas. And just blending that out with a clean brush. Quite a firm brush though, because it's grease paint, so it needs a slightly firmer brush to blend it out. Otherwise you just diffuse the colour all over the place if you use a really fluffy brush. And I didn't set this, but if you're going to be wearing this on a night out to a party, you might want to just set it with some either clear translucent powder, or colourless translucent powder I should say, or a black shadow. Just so it doesn't smudge everywhere, because you don't want that. Dirtying up the recorder with some black face paint. And applying a wig, and we're done.
Right, beauties, this is the final creepy Pied Piper Sugar Skull look. Hope you like it. If you did like this video, please give it a massive thumbs up. Please comment down below and let me know what you thought. And I shall see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Love you all lots. Mwah. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. The Piper commands.